afternoon. Welcome for today's pre-bid conference via the DPWH YouTube channel under Section 51 of RA 12009, otherwise known as the New Government Procurement Act, missing generic rules and regulations for the following contract ID numbers. First is 25F00551, construction of school building, Binanderahan Elementary School, Barangay Binanderahan, Camalig, Albay, 7 Legislative District. 25F00600, Rehabilitation, Reconstruction of roads with slips, slope collapse and landslide, primary road, Maharlika Higway, LZ, K0287 plus 774.20 to K0287 plus 821.40, Labo, Camarines, Norte, 1st Legislative District, and 25F00601, Rehabilitation, Reconstruction of roads with slips, slope collapse and landslide, primary road, Rolando or Andaya Highway, K0338 plus 064.60 to K0338 plus 110.10, Sipocot, Camarines Sur, 1st Legislative District. So this activity is being attended to by the following members of the BAC and DPWH present today, starting off with myself as the BAC Chairperson, Attorney Melina Embataga, as well as the Chief of the Right of Way Acquisition and Legal Division. On my right is Dr. Maria Chidora Pino Santas, BAC Vice Chairperson and the Chief of the Administrative Division. Engineer Arnel L. Samson, BAC Provisional Member and the Chief of the Maintenance Division. Engineer Alex Lacuna, BAC Provisional Member and the Chief of the Construction Division. Engineer LBM Nasayaw, BAC Head KWT and the Assistant Chief of the Construction Division. And Engineer Lairin B. Manela, BAC Provisional Member from the Maintenance Division. So this pre-bid conference, as mandated under the said IRR, is to discuss, clarify, and explain the eligibility requirements as well as the technical and financial components of the project to be bid. So, to further discuss to us the contents thereof, may we call Engineer Mariel. Before we proceed, we also acknowledge the presence of of Miss Sheila B. Sayritan, representative from Prime March Construction Office. Good afternoon. Okay, so Engineer Mariel, let's proceed.
For eligibility requirements, eligibility of prospective bidders is determined using the civil works application, which electronically processes the compliance with Class A documents, such as the legal, technical, and financial documents. Prospective bidders are encouraged to regularly update their respective records in the CWA on the following requirements: Class A documents, legal documents, registration certificate from SEC for corporate organizations, DTI for sole proprietorship or CPA for cooperation. Number 2, mayor's or business permit. They should bid a city or municipality where the principal place of the prospective bidder is located or the equivalent documents for exclusive economic zones are located. The updated version's registration shall be submitted in the technical document component of the bid to be considered eligible. The renewed mayor's business permit shall also be submitted as a post-qualification requirement in accordance with Section 68.2 of the IRR of RA 1200. The same shall apply to the other Class A eligibility documents. Number 3, tax clearance for EU 398 series of 2005 as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, number 4, statement of the prospective bidder about completion and ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not necessarily defining whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract award. Number 5, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract for SLCC, similar to the contract to bid except for the conditions provided for in Section 52.4.2.4 of the IRR of RA 1200. All of the above statements 4 and 5 should include all information required in the PPDs prescribed by the GPD. For 52.4.2.4, the bidder must have completed an SLCC that is similar to the contract to bid, which is valid and adjusted the current prices used to replace a consumer price indices, must be at requirement may be allowed subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the DPWH for consideration. Provided further that contractors under small A and small B categories with obstacle or experience in the procurement project to the bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable range of contract cost of their registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PICA. Moreover, a contract should be considered similar to the procurement project if it has specific categories of work. The procuring entity may clarify in the leading documents what is regarded as major categories of work, guided with the principle of proportionality and fit for purpose of work. For the entire DPWH, definition of major categories of work are defined in Department Order 164 series of 2025. For 52.4.2.5, the SLCC shall be supported by a owner certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES for single performance and monitoring system. In the case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. For 52.4.2.6, the computation of bidders NFCC must be at least equal to ACC to the bidder as follows. NFCC equals current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts that to be started coinciding with the procurement project date, provided that a different formula may be adopted subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the GPPD for consideration. The value of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest AFS submitted to the BAR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective FILJAT certificates of registration in accordance with Section 20.2.9.1 of this IRR. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitute compliance, provided that a partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all its ongoing contracts. Number 6, valid new contractors accreditation board license or PICAB license, or special PICAB license in case of joint ventures, and registration for the type and cost for the contract to be bid. For financial documents, number 7, the prospective bidders audited financial statements showing, among others, the prospective bidders' total and current assets and liabilities, staff received by the BIR of its duly accredited and authorized institutions. For the received calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. Number 8, the prospective bidders' computation of net financial contracting capacity or NFCC. The computation of a prospective bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the APC to the bid calculated as follows. NFCC equals current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts that year started coinciding with the contract with the bid. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR. For Class B documents, joint venture bidders shall submit a JVA in accordance with RA 4566 and its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective FILJAT certificates of registration in accordance with Section 20.2.9.1 of the IRR of RA 12009. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitute compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit a statement of all its ongoing contracts and audited financial statements. Other technical requirements. If joint venture agreement, the securities applicable with the current declaration, ISO 9000 certification of its latest version if applicable, duly signed organizational chart, duly signed list of key personnel for the contract, with supporting affidavits of commitment to work and the contract with the key personnel under 98 series of 2016, revised guidelines on the accreditation of contractors and consultants, materials engineers. The minimum work experience requirements for the key personnel are the following. For the proposed positions applicable, project manager, years of experience total similar and related is 5 years. Similar position 5 years. Project engineer, total similar and related, 3 years. Similar position, 3 years. Materials engineer, total similar and related, 3 years. Similar position, 3 years. Foreman, total similar and related, 2 years. Similar position, 2 years. Construction safety officer and others. Other technical requirements. Duly signed list of contractors, major construction and laboratory equipment pledged to the contract. Please refer to DO 11 series of 2017 for the minimum materials testing equipment and section 63.3D of RA 12009 in relation to item 16.5D, 1.1D, and 5 of the Philippine Leading Document May 2025 edition. Certification as to the availability of equipment under lease agreement or under purchase agreement must be notarized. Omnibus form state. For the required equipment for contract ID number 25F00551. Backhoe, all models, capacity 0.80 cubic meter, 150 HP, required is 1. Concrete patch plant with updated calibration certificate, capacity is 30 cubic meter, required is 1. Dump truck, all models, capacity is 12 cubic yard, 290 HP, required is 2. Low bed trailer, capacity is 25 metric tons, required is 1. Tractor truck, required is 1. Payloader, capacity is 1.5 cubic meter or 1.95 cubic yard, required is 1. Pump crate, truck mounted with boom, capacity 70 to 120 cubic meter per hour, 265 HP, required is 1. Automatic level under OCM with updated calibration certificate, required is 1. Support equipment, lighting system or tower lights. Height is 28 feet, number of lights is 4 by 1000 watts. HP is 10.50, generators 5 kilowatts, 2 by 400 watts under OCM. Capacity is 2 by 400 watts, 5 HP, required is 1. Transit mixer, all models, 5 to 6 cubic yard, 175 HP, required is 1. Truck mounted crane, all models, 21 to 25 metric tons, 200 HP, required is 1. Water truck or pump, all makes, 16,000 liters, 360 HP, required is 1. 425F00600. Backhoe with breaker, all models, capacity 0.80 cubic meter or 1.05 cubic yard, 150 HP, required is 1. Backhoe wheel mounted, all models, capacity 0.28 cubic meter or 0.37 cubic yard, 50 HP, required is 1. Low bed trailer, capacity is 25 metric tons, required is 1. Boom truck, all models, capacity is 197 HP, required is 1. Cargo or service truck, all models, capacity is 9 to 10 metric tons, 270 HP, required is 1. Concrete batch plant with updated calibration certificate, 30 cubic meter, required is 1. Dump truck, all models, 12 cubic yard or 9.175 cubic meter, 290 HP, required is 2. Motorized road grader, all models, 163 HP, required is 1. Payloader, all models, 1.50 cubic meter or 1.95 cubic yard, 110 HP, required is 1. Payloader at disposal site, all models, 1.50 cubic meter or 1.95 cubic yard, 110 HP, required is 1. Transit mixer, all models, 5 cubic feet or per minute, 175 HP, required is 1. Vibratory roller, all models, 10 metric tons, 125 HP, required is 1. Water truck or pump, all mix, 16,000 liters, 360 HP, required is 1. Support equipment, total station under OCM. With updated calibration certificate, required is 1. Support equipment, genset under OCM. Capacity 6 kVA, required is 1. Support equipment, tower lights, 2 by 400 watts under OCM. Capacity is 5 HP, required is 1. Support equipment, automatic level under OCM with updated calibration certificate, required is 1. Truck, tractor, required is 1. For contract ID number 25F00601, backhoe with breaker, all models, capacity 0.80 cubic meter or 1.05 cubic yard, 150 HP, required is 1. Backhoe wheel mounted, all models, 0.28 cubic meter or 0.37 cubic yard, 50 HP, required is 1. Low bed trailer, 25 metric tons, required is 1. Boom truck, all models, capacity is 187 HP, required is 1. Cargo or service truck, all models, capacity is 9 to 10 metric tons, 20 required is 1. Concrete batch plant with updated calibration certificate, 30 cubic meter required is 1. Dump truck all models, 12 cubic yard or 9.175 cubic meter, 90 HP required is 2. Motorized road grader all models, 150 HP required is 1. Payloader all models, 1.50 cubic meter or 1.95 cubic yard, 110 HP required is 1. Payloader disposal cycle models, 1.50 cubic meter, 1.95 cubic yard, 110 HP required is 1. Transit mixer all models, 5 cubic feet per minute, 175 HP required is 1. Vibratory roller all models, 10 metric tons, 125 HP required is 1. Water truck or pump all mix, 16 liters, 360 HP required is 1. Support equipment total station and with updated calibration certificate required is 1. Support equipment genset under OCM, 6 kVA required is 1. Support equipment tower lights, 2 by 400 watts under OCM, 5 HP required is 1. Support equipment total automatic level under OCM with updated calibration certificate required is 1. Tractor required is 1. For financial requirements, duly signed bid form, all pages must have signature box in the standard format of the bid. Duly signed bill of quantities including summary of bid prices. Duly signed or initial dated last price. Further instructions or clarifications in the submission of technical and financial documents. Bidders are required to include ISO 9001:2015 certification or its latest versions applicable as part of the project requirement in the meeting documents for infrastructure projects through Department Requirement Number 110 Series of 2024. Implementation of ISO 9001:2015 certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. For those who wish to use bid security declaration as bid security, use the new format for Department Memorandum Circular 85 Series of 2020 uploaded in the PhilJobs and DPWH websites. Similarly, use the uploaded new omnibus working statement format. Prospective bidders are required to use the appropriate and correct format of the omnibus working statement pertaining to the authority of the signatory according to the type of the business organization, for example, single proprietorship, corporate, cooperative, or joint venture. Failure to do so will be treated as a misdeclaration by the prospective bidder and will be a ground for the non-compliance of the bid. Prospective bidders are reminded of the provision that equipment capacity is specified in the bid data sheet shall be mandatory and absence of the same shall disqualify the contract. All requirements stated in the bid data sheet are mandatory. Hence, in the same manner that the items of work and the corresponding quantities involved are fixed and mandatory in the bill of quantities, the type of equipment, their respective capacities and number of units required are also mandatory in the list of equipment pledged for the contract. Failure of the prospective bidder to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location, whether owned, leased, or under purchase agreement, shall result in the bidder's automatic post-qualification and forfeiture of the bid security. The TWG shall conduct inspection of the pledged equipment as to their availability and efficiency. Equipment pledged for a one awarded project shall not be pledged to another project bid out in the same date or immediate date after the bidding of that awarded project. Equipment pledged on several projects bid out in the same date wherein the bidders potentially the winner of these projects will be ground for the bidders post-disqualification in the other projects. Review documents to be submitted to avoid ineligibility and non-compliance of bid. Check the validity of permits, licenses, registrations, and clearances. Check the completeness of the form and substance of the bid security, affidavits, declarations, and other notarized documents. Use the new bid form for infrastructure GPP Resolution Number 16/2020 and circularize the DPWH through the 085 Series of 2020. All entries required in the bill of quantities, such as those for the unit price, in words and figures, and the total price for the item for both lump sum and non-lump sum items of work should be properly filled out. Lump sum costs in the bill of quantities must be supported with detailed cost estimates showing the direct and indirect costs, including tax. Provision of overhead, contingencies, and miscellaneous for for special items under the general requirements and facilities of the engineer shall not be exempt. Discounts offered in handwritten text in the bid form should be signed or initialed by the authorized managing officer who is authorized to sign the bid documents. Otherwise, the discount will not be accepted. Erasures of delineation, overwriting, alterations in any document should likewise be signed or initialed by the authorized managing officer. Brief explanations on the criteria for eligibility screening, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and post-qualification. Processing criteria for eligibility processing shall be in accordance with sections 52.1 and 52.2 of the IRR of RA 12009, and the contract profile based on the 164 series of 2025 revised guidelines for the determination of major and senior categories. Electronic eligibility processing through the civil works application shall be conducted simultaneous or ahead of the opening of the technical documents, depending on the consistency of the network connectivity of the CWE. Preliminary examination of bids shall be conducted in accordance with Section 59 of the IRR of RA 12009. Bids that fail to include any requirement when the checklist are incomplete or patently sufficient should be considered as failed. Detailed evaluation of bids shall be in accordance with Section 61 of the IRR of RA 12009. Bids shall be checked as to completeness, arithmetical corrections will be performed with computational errors, and omissions will be corrected to enable proper comparison and equal footing of all eligible bids. Post-qualification shall be conducted in accordance with Rule 10, Post-qualification of the IRR of RA 12009. Verification, validation, and certification of all statements made in documents submitted by the bidder with the lowest calculated bid, using non-discretionary criteria as stated in the bidding documents covering the legal, technical, and financial documents. The provisions of the IRR of RA 12009 and the DPWH Procurement Manual 2 Infrastructure shall govern the procurement. Instructions to purchase of bidding documents. Only the owner of the firm or the authorized representatives named in CRC shall be allowed to transact business relative to bidding matters and purchase bidding documents for DO 176, series of 1993, and is reiterated in DO 197, series of 2001. Those representatives not included in the CRC are required to submit special power of attorney, the Secretary's certificate which is applicable. The authorized representatives issued with SPA or Secretary certificate shall be required to present two valid government-issued identification cards and a printout copy of the document request list or BRL from the field sales posting of the contract to be bid showing the name of their construction firm. The back secretariat will not be responsible for the failure by the bidder to pay the bidding documents in time, to the bid dropping due to late arrival, delayed processing of the order of payment and collection order, and late payment of the bidding documents. Loss of the order of payment and supporting documents already released or issued by the back secretariat is not the responsibility of the back secretariat. Only the signatory may cancel or revise the duty signed letter of authority to purchase bidding documents. Bidding documents payments made for cancelled projects due to no funds approved or released and for disapproved notification, and or for late release projects that have already exceeded the 3-month period for award are non-refundable as a matter of policy of the DPWH Regional Office. All prospective bidders shall attach to the technical component of the bidding documents the following: straight line diagram in accordance with the templates prescribed under Annexes A-3 and B-5A to B of DO number 246 series of 2025. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the corporations, and sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership, following the templates as shown in pages 22 and 23 of bidding forms, invitation to bid in GCC, including sole proprietorship. Instructions to submission and dropping of bids. Follow the checklist of the technical and financial document request requirements uploaded with the bidding documents for the contract bid. Absence of any required document shall be considered as failure of compliance on the required document in non-compliance of the date. Chronologically arrange the documents in accordance with the checklist for the technical and financial documents, providing the documentation and security vendor documents. Affix initial on all the pages of the documents. The initial on the pages together with the pagination affirm the authenticity of the pages that they are indeed part of the submitted view documents. Submit duly signed original one machine copy of the view documents. Machine copies of the documents must be from the original. Place the original technical document in envelope and securely sealed. Put a marking on the envelope containing the following text. Original technical document, the name of the batch chairperson, and the name and address of the procuring entity of the contract ID, the name of the project, and indicate do not open before 10 a.m. of May 25, 2026. Duly saved for the original financial documents and put both the original technical and financial envelopes into one outer envelope. Label the outer envelope as original bid, including the other text for the marking. Do the same above features for the copy when marking the envelope as copy 1, for the technical and financial envelopes as well as the outer envelope. Put the envelopes labeled original bid and copy 1 in one other envelope and put marking containing the text. Name of the batch chairperson and the name and address of the procuring entity, the contract ID, and the name of the project, and indicate do not open before 10 a.m. of May 25, 2026. Sample illustration on the instructions of the submission and dropping of bids. Other important matters. Prospective bidders are encouraged to conduct site inspection for them to determine whether this is the right project for them. Decisions on about amending any provision of the bidding documents shall be issued in writing through a supplemental or bid bulletin at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. Minutes of the pre-bid conference will be posted in the back bulletin board, and prospective bidders are encouraged to read the minutes. Prospective bidders are also encouraged to regularly visit the postings and affiliates at DPWH websites to keep themselves abreast of the supplemental or bid bulletins that will be issued by the bank. Prospective bidders are also encouraged to purchase bidding documents ahead of the bid dropping schedule. Prospective bidders' key personnel shall submit copies of their valid and updated GRC licenses and law accreditation, whichever is applicable. Possible causes of failure of bidding are: no bids are received, all prospective bidders are declared ineligible, all bids fail to comply with all the bid documents or fail post-qualification, or the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid refuses without justifiable cause to accept the award of contract, and no award is made in accordance with Section 4 of the documents IRR.
Thank you, Engineer Mariel. So, since one of the objectives of the pre-bid conference is to clarify some of the requirements regarding the project to be bid, so may I refer to you in reference to the equipment requirements. Engineer Mariel, page 5. Eligibility, equipment requirements. Okay, balik sa equipment requirements. Yan. So, as you can see, under the bid documents, there's a statement there to refer. Please refer to DO11 series of 2017 for the minimum materials testing requirement by equipment and strict application of section 63.3 B of RA 12009 in relation to item 16.5 B-I and B of the Philippine Bidding Documents May 2025 edition. So, upon deliberation made by the BAC, wherein there is a quorum, the BAC resolves to amend the provision under the Philippine Bidding Documents, which previously state item 16.5 B-I, point I and B, to only item 16.5 of the Philippine Bidding Documents May 2025 edition. So, So the new statement for reference is, please refer to DO11 series of 2017 for the minimum materials testing equipment and strict application of section 63.8 of RA 12009 in relation to item 16.5 of the Philippine bidding documents May 2025 edition. So, in that amendment or modification, please be guided accordingly for those prospective bidders. So, any additional information from the members of the bank for the three projects? Likewise, Ma'am Sailitan from Primarch Construction Office, do you have any questions or point of clarification? So, none. So, there being none, the pre-bid conference for 25F00551, 25F00600, and 25F006